In Songs of Myself, Whitman talks about the tension and conflict in the Americans' humanistic and democratic views on, or the democratic self-understanding of America. He makes use of a list of scenes and brings a variety of voices to put into light those marginalized ones in the society back then. He starts the poem emphasizing his own character to show that he is the center, suffering and going through America's problems, seeing problems, trying to think and point them to people. He is the one having the catalog, using the writing technique to state social and political problems, problems of identity, problems of self-understanding. He places himself as an observer, but that who suffers, the one who suffers by doing it. As when he says, open quotes, "I have no mocking or arguments, I witness and wait," close quotes. In part 8 of Song of Myself, Whitman continues making use of the same strategy to write and call readers' attention, now emphasizing the words the, what, and again I. He alternates sometimes to I, placing himself as the observer again, the one who sees birth, death, and love, not interfering with the events of life. So he's just the observer, he's just seeing from a point of view, an outsider point of view, somehow. The humanistic aspects of life are perceived in, open quotes, "the little one sleeps in the cradle," close quotes, regarding a young life or the beginning of life, silently brushing away flies in order to show the normal aspect of birth. But as the lines flow, the scene of the love between a youngster's and a red-faced girl is speared by him from the top, depicting an unnatural sequence where birth comes first, then the sexual act. In the sequence of the lines, he depicts death when he reads the lines, open quotes, "The suicide sprawls on the bloody floor, on the bedroom, it is so, I witnessed the corpse, there the pistol have fallen," to give again the idea of a natural order of life, or at least not a natural death. He depicts in those lines some negative humanistic aspects, and behind those scenes social and political problems can be put into question. Another textual evidence of the negative humanistic aspect in Whitman's writing is when he admits the illness of the heart and the soul, or just the weakness of man in open quotes, the sick man inside, borne to the hospital, the meeting of enemies, a sudden oath, the blows and fall, the impassive stones that receive in return so many echoes, the souls moving along. Are they invisible while the least atom of the stones are visible? Close quotes. Whitman writes as a cry for others, problems that he sees, but not necessarily are his own, but his, as an observer of life, who sees the birth as a trivial event of life, since he states the woman, open quotes, hurry home to give birth to babies, close quotes. He also observes all the arrest of criminals, slights, adulterous offers made, acceptances, rejections of them, close quotes, and says, open quotes, I come again and again, close quotes, as a complaint for seeing these negative aspects of life so recurrent and considered as normal. The city sounds and movements are also emphasized along Part 8 through his urban catalog, listing simple daily facts using words such as hurrah, exclamations, flappings, groans, blabs, etc., and accounts of people's strugglings. In Part 24, Walt Whitman presents himself as part of the universe, of this America, of the humanistic events of life, since he considers his own and other people's attitudes, actions towards life and themselves all part of a unit, as in, open quotes, whoever degrades another degrades me, and whatever is done and said returns at last to me, and whatever I do or say I do also return. Close quotes. He places himself as an American and responsible too for those lives in America. In the first sentence we read, open quotes, Walt Whitman, an American, one of the roughs, a cosmos, disorderly, freshly and sensual, eating and drinking and breathing, close quotes, giving away his identity, showing the I identity hidden in the first 23 sections of Song of Myself. So readers know who is speaking, who is showing problems within the society. That is, someone from inside, someone who is part of them. After this part of revelation of the poem, Whitman brings voices of others, but since he considers being part of everything, he can also be reflected there in parts. This is clearly stated in the passage, open quotes, through many long dumb voices, voices of interminable generations of slaves, voices of prostitutes, and of deformed persons, voices of the diseased and despairing, of the thieves and dwarfs, voices of cycles of preparation and accretion, of the trivial and flat and foolish and despised. Close quotes. He brings a claim for those who are marginalized in the society, who are submitted and economically, socially, and politically forgotten. He, being part of this, depicts this ugly face of his own people, his own country, where democracy does not work for all, where the dominant society oppresses and judges all the voices, all of these voices presented in the text, in the country, for him, for the observer. They are forgotten identities, forgotten lives, living in the same ground. The word voices is repetitive in the poem in order to give emphasis to the variety of people and situations and the complexity of struggles they, Americans, have as living souls. Walt Whitman wants to show the pure reality in his poems, specifically this one. That's why he brings mundane examples as, open quotes, the scent of these armpits is aroma finer than prayer, close quotes, and, open quotes, you my rich blood, your milky stream pale stripping of my life, close quotes. The nature can be understood as an extension of his sexuality or his body as part of the nature, as in, open quotes, root of washed sweet flag, timorous pond snipe, nest of guarded duplicated eggs, trickling sap of maples, fiber of manly wheat, sweaty brooks and dews, wind whose soft tickling genitals rub against me, broad muscular fields, loving louder in my winding paths. The air tastes good to my palate. Close quotes. In an overall, the poem talks about truly desire for life, libidinous desire, nature recognition as part of the human being. It is also a claim for those who are considered forgotten by God because of their sins, in quotes, for not fitting society, within society. It is a call for democracy, a call for others as for himself as an American and as part of the universal system. I hope this gives you ideas and suggestions on how to analyze further the poems.